Welcome back to WGNC Garage. Today it's a simple video. We're going to be replacing the filter element on my HKS intake. This is a 3-layer. Normally these power kits come with the 2-layer, which is red in color. Since I do daily the car, I chose the 3-layer to protect it more. The 2-layer does let for basically more airflow into the engine. Now these filters are not meant to last very long. As you can actually see, they're meant to be only for 6,000 to 10,000 kilometers or 6 to 12 months. So I go through these quite often as I put a lot of miles on this car. It's a very simple element, and these you can get in the US. You don't have to order the filter element from Japan. You can actually get an original one here in the US. So as you can see, the color difference is pretty vast from all the dirt and debris that this filter has gone through as a daily. So now mine comes off with the red. If yours doesn't come off with red, that's fine. So you can see all the dust, dirt, debris. Make sure none is in there. Looks like I have quite a bit of dust there. Alright, as for placement of this, I just kind of guide it in to the center, and I just kind of push down. Now, I do make sure that the green is tucked under this little red lip. Again, it may come off with the entire metal frame, or it may not. It's okay if it doesn't. Only thing is when you go to place this back in, and let's say this red piece is still in here, then you kind of have to move the little leg pieces so that they all actually slide inside to hold place. Now, as you can see, it's not perfect inside of here. It's still wiggled and whatnot. Nothing to be really concerned about. These frame legs, I guess you can call them, will help actually hold it in place and seal so that dirt and debris does not make it around it. Since this has debris around it, I'm actually gonna grab some mass airflow sensor cleaner and clean it out. So in order to remove my intake, being that the factory one's removed, this one does have a bracket right here. This is a 10mm. Then all I need to do is release one of these clamps and unplug the sensor. So I'm going to unplug this, move the cabling out of the way, and remove this bolt. Please make sure you hold on to all the little pieces so you don't lose them. And I'm going to remove this upper clamp. That removed. Here's my mass airflow sensor, which is directly attached to the frame. So I'm going to remove these. Once I take these all out, I will return back. Alright, so I've removed all the bolts, and I removed this. Now as you can see, there is some buildup of debris there. So this O-ring, it's kind of flattened. There it is. Alright. It's okay. I got a new one right here. I'll grab that extra one in a minute. However, I'm going to clean off this mass airflow sensor using air sensor cleaner. Please do not use brake cleaner. You will damage the sensor, and these are very expensive if you haven't looked them up. Currently, I believe last time I looked it up, about a month ago, they were around $700-800 for an aftermarket and almost $1,000 or more for an OEM. So gently clean the sensor. Alright, now I don't know if you could tell, but there's kind of some dark spots. This mass airflow sensor cleaner is cleaning that darkness off of this mesh screen. So I will be making sure that cleans off. That looks better. Now, do not immediately plug this back in. You will short the equipment. This is damp inside, and as you can see, well, here in Florida there's humidity everywhere, so now that it's cold from me spraying, there's humidity there. Now it does seem some sort of debris came out from there, so I will again spray just the center, and then alright, so I'm going to let this dry for some time and reach back up to temperature. I do not want that wet or any sort of moisture in there to make contact once I connect it back into the power. I don't want it damaging the piece. This I can just wipe off. Since I'm cleaning it off, I decided, because I do have an extra one, I'll just be replacing the gasket that does seal here. Hopefully no more corrosion happens. Now I'm going to clean all this dirt and debris off of the actual intake housing, and once I have it clean, I shall return. Alright, so I've able to clean off the system. There's no more dirt and debris on this. So now I'm going to put the new O-ring gasket on the mass airflow sensor. Alright. So unlike the old O-ring, this one, because it is new, is finally sticking up and seems to fit a bit better in there. Now, if you really want to put this right side up, technically the HKS logo faces up. In this case, I'd have it towards the top. So, face it up and bring it upside down. Alright, so there we go. Now, when this does bolt in, this little point right here lines up with this lower corner. So the lower corner will be actually the bracket for the housing to be supported so it doesn't just fall. So let me put on these other bolts first, and we will mount the bracket. Alright, so now that this is being held in place, alright, so tightening this down now. If you're wondering, when I did buy this kit, all these bolts did come with the original HKS kit. So it does replace the factory bolts used for the filter housing. There we go. Now sure I get this aligned correctly. So there we go. There we go. So that is the position in which this bracket needs to stay. As you can see, there's still moisture inside, so I will not be plugging this in, and I will not be starting the car for some time. I will make sure that it dries completely first before I do that, so I'm going to let it sit for about 1 or 2 hours before I come back. So since I'm actually going to take it apart in a little bit, I'm going to leave this bolt out, and I'm going to leave this area uncovered so that it airs out. And I'm actually going to place this here on top of the engine, so that way no debris falls on the sensor. And I'm going to place this lightly over this so that nothing obvious falls into it. So once that is dry and I know that that has dried off and there's no more humidity or moisture in there, I will return and assemble it. So we're back. It's been about an hour to check, and it seems like everything dried off and very clean. Although I do still see some moisture inside of the chamber on the wall. However, since most of it dried, I'm going to reassemble this. I'll still wait before starting the engine. So let's place that back in there. And this. There we go. Alright, start threading in. So that is now threaded in. We'll tighten it down. Alright. There we go. So that is in this bracket. We will now tighten. There we go. And we shall place this piece on, which that red piece will slide into that gap, and thread this in. And this doesn't have to be super tight, it kind of just stops. So wherever it stops, it stops. So it is now in. However, I will refrain from plugging it in until at least another hour before, just to make sure it dries off well. Alright, so it's been about an hour. Oh, Jesus, sounds right. So before I plug this in, I'm just going to unthread this a moment and take a quick peek inside of the actual sensor area and see if there's any debris, or well, not debris, but humidity remaining. There we go. So kind of hard to see, but there is no more debris or condensation remaining in there. So I will be closing this up and plugging in the sensor. There we go. And the sensor itself looks clean, connector wise. There we go. Nice and secure. Now let's start the car, make sure it runs fine with no check engine light or anything of the such. Alright, well, no check engine light. Everything has been connected, so we are complete.